Your best friend is dying of an incurable bone cancer and is experiencing severe pain. They ask you to buy them sleeping tablets from the pharmacy so that they can end their life. Do you buy the tablets or not? Wow, dark. Dylan, hello and welcome.
Hi, boys and girls. Well, this is an
Hi.
interesting dilemma because I don't know if it's on YouTube, but there was a famous Swiss poet was that died of bone cancer, and on Swiss TV they actually filmed her, I think, getting an injection and her dying because I think Switzerland and the Netherlands are two of the countries where euthanasia is illegal. Personally, if I was in this situation, I would feel like I'm killing the person. So what I would say to them is, can you order it on Amazon and then I'll just pick up the bag and give you the bag. That way I don't have the guilt on me.
Hmm,
I would transfer the guilt that way. But
interesting.
I think this should be legal, and it will be interesting to see if other countries legalize it.
All right, awesome.
That's my thought.
Thank you. Thank you, Dylan. Already we're thinking on different dimensions. Zamot, hello and welcome. You have the opportunity to speak or pass.
Okay, wow, interesting, deep topic here. If this was a really close friend and I could really see the suffering of that person, um, I would, I guess I'm leaning closer to that. I actually would buy them the tablets, because I would really end the suffering if I could, if it was a really person I really cared about, and it was a person close to me. Uh, but there is the dilemma that I would actually kind of be killing someone, and I would have to live the rest of my life knowing that I've killed someone or
Mm,
kind of killed someone.
mm.
I don't know, if you can call it that. I guess you could. But I mean, yeah, uh, I've never been in that kind of situation where I've seen someone uh, like suffer in that. Yeah, yeah. But I I'm leaning towards that. I would actually buy the pills if it was someone I deeply care. In what was the experiencing severe pain? Yeah, then. Uh, I think I'm not sure, but I think I would, uh, because I would really want my close friend to end their suffering.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, that's my answer.
Perfect. Thank you, Zamot. Rich456. What are your thoughts? Do you buy the pills or not?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we
Perfect.
can.
So, all right, thank you. So, I'll tell you, I think that question sets up a flawed premise. So, first of all, I do believe in euthanasia, and I certainly hope that when I die, I don't have a lot of pain. But because it's really dependent on the legalities and the support system of the medical community, the people in whose care he is in. So, if you're in a place where it's illegal, the question really is, would you risk prison time to do that for a friend? And I mean, I'm not sure I would risk prison time, even though I
Mm,
would not want my friend to suffer, and I believe in euthanasia. Yeah, I don't know that I would go to jail perhaps for a very long time for that. And if euthanasia is legal, it really doesn't apply, because if it was legal, the doctors would do it in this very safe, legally sanctioned way.
mm.
So I don't know. I think it's a very problematic
If they
question.
could afford doctors, then mentioned that, for example, and they were stuck at
So this
home and
person is just at home having no, well, then it's very problematic. If this person is not interacting with the medical care system, then it brings up the whole thing of how do I know? How do I know it's incurable?
Mm.
You know, I'm not a doctor.
That's so interesting.
So
You
it's
brought up
just
the element of consequences of you're helping a friend, but then what are the consequences further on? Definitely something to consider. Thank you. Great. I love that actually. Paul Laff. Hello and welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. Firstly, I I firmly believe in euthanasia. I think it's a person's right to take their own life if they're suffering, although it does have consequences to the nearest and dearest. Would I buy them sleeping tablets? I don't think I would, as the previous speaker said. You're possibly incriminating yourself. But you must say, if you would take your cat to the vet, if it was suffering so badly, why should you care more for a cat than you would for a human being? But no, I would not buy them the sleeping tablet, but I'd try to make other arrangements through the medical profession, or take them to Switzerland if they wanted, wherever, or in a country where it could be done legally, but I would not incriminate myself.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Interesting point there.
The Cashew.
The
Hello and
cashew.
welcome.
Megaphone is yours. Hi.
There we go. Okay. Sorry. I feel like I don't know. Hello? What's up?
Yes. Yeah. No, you're
We can hear
loud
you.
and clear.
No, sorry. Somebody walked into my room and that was my brother, but it's my dog.
Oh,
Door
cute.
opened. But yeah, I feel like I personally have the avenues where I could do that, where I could make that happen without incrimination. I could acquire such things. I know a guy. But I feel like, and my mom and I have very different opinions on this. We watch Grey's Anatomy, and there's an episode on that because euthanasia is legal in Washington State and it takes place in Seattle. And it recently came up in humanism group that I'm in because they're trying to get it passed in the UK. But I feel like it's important. I feel like late stage Parkinson's, for instance, like there's no getting better for that, and Parkinson's diagnoses have risen by 35% in the past 10 years. So it's a serious problem. In late stage Parkinson's, you can't do anything. You can't take care of yourself. You can't live life. And why should someone have to suffer through that just because people don't want people feel bad if they die? Stuff like that where it's you honestly can't. There's nothing to do. Why would you want someone to suffer just because you have a moral, you don't believe in it morally? How is that fair? That's then putting your feelings ahead. It's the same issue with like reproductive rights. What right does the governor of New York have to say that women can't get birth control? It's their bodies. I feel like it's the same issue, and it's not like and with euthanasia, it's not some quick thing. It takes at least, if not years, to qualify for that. And so I feel like yeah, I don't know. I feel like your personal dilemma should not supersede the person themselves. It's their life, their choice, and it's the same thing. Vaccines, birth control, abortions, it's the same issue. It's all part of the same issue, the idea of control of one's own self.
All
And I
right.
think that control of self is really important to think about.
Perfect. Thank you, Cashew. I would argue that
Sorry.
there's two different situations. Something like birth control is where you are perfectly sane, you're in the right mindset, and you're just trying to prevent something that you're not ready for. And I feel like when it comes to, say, disabilities or euthanasia or sickness or anything, the most important question is this person asking me in the right state of mind and mentality? And I think that, like the guy could be in pain one day, he phones you, he's got the severe pain, but he's had a lot to drink, for example, so it's extended, and now he's past his processing thoughts, and he's like, nope, I want to die today, and then you have to live with that guilt. So I think those are also the questions that we've got to consider: is how stable are they mentally? But anyway, let's head over to Halian
Okay.
Aeon.
Alien, welcome back.
Hi.
Microphone's yours.
Hi, right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I think probably in common with a lot of people here, I think given the right circumstances and the right controls, and not necessarily this case, but I can see there's a case for controlled euthanasia, whatever you want to call it, maybe a case there. I think you might find that what I would in this particular case, I mean, it depends on the person, doesn't it? My sister's a nurse. She tells me that ultimately they can kill any pain if you've given them the right drugs.
Right.
And I'd probably be tempted to buy them. Say instead of, well, why don't you just buy a sleeping tablet? You have a subscription to the Dangerous Sports Club or something like that, and just keep taking parachute jumps or something like that, and enjoying yourself, as best you can. But it depends on what they could do in this sort of case. So it might be something you can do, which is a bit more useful. If you know you're going to die, in this particular case, the guy's going to die, or volunteer for the next SpaceX launch or something like that. I'll go up on that. I don't care if it's going to land on the belly flop or not. So there's something possibly more interesting you could do. But of course, if somebody's just in bed, really can't move, is in extreme pain, and then there's certainly a case there. But you've got to have all the safeguards, because they might have dementia, for example. If they're old, they may not be in a state of mind to be able to make a conscious decision and stuff. But in principle, I can see you might have to. But if there are alternatives to it, then probably in a country where it's illegal, then it probably is a little bit silly to incriminate yourself, but there may be better ways of helping them out. But at the end of the day, you can kill almost any pain with the appropriate drugs. I think I always say, if I get to 80 or if I get dementia, just give me every psychedelic drug there is. I'll have a great time. What the hell? Don't move my brain anymore.
You might have just saved a life today. Thank you, Halian. Awesome. Before we move on
Really
to
like that.
Dr. Sam, I know it just makes you think completely different. Before we go to Dr. Sam, I just want to welcome the new attendees to the VR Digital Citizens, the Moral Dilemma for tonight. Very welcome to you. For those of you who haven't joined, make sure you join our Facebook group, which is VR Digital Citizens, for all the reminders, the videos, the information that we have, for some memes. Sometimes we create memes. Ali likes creating memes as well. So, yeah. And a very welcome to you. If you haven't spoken and you would love to speak, then please raise your hand. If you're a troll, try raise your hand. See what type of consequences you have to deal with. You'll wish you had bone cancer. All right. Next
Just
we
to
have.
let you know, for those of you that have just joined us, we usually come up with a topic which is right behind us, and we go around the couches from our left to right, and everybody gets a chance to speak. So for those of you that have just joined, read the question, think about it, and we'll give you a chance to speak. If you have not spoken yet, Raise your hands. We will give you the megaphone
You,
soon.
you can raise your hand, or you can head over to the right side of the couch, and we'll get to you. Absolutely. All right, let's
So
head
we're
over.
on Dr. Sam right now.
Yes. Let's go to Dr. Sam.
Dr. Sam, hi and welcome.
Good evening, Ali. Good evening, Timon. Good evening, everybody. Just to inform everybody, I am carrying the camera. So I am filming this. It's live on Facebook. There are a couple of thousand people watching at the moment. Just to remind those people who stand behind the couch are regarded as observers, and they are not asked any questions. So ask questions. So if you want to talk, you need to come onto the couch. If you want to be an observer, stay behind the couch.
Or raise your hand.
Or
But
raise
the
your hand,
couches
yeah.
are more comfortable.
Definitely.
So feel free to join the couches.
So
Thank you, Dr.
this
Sam.
is this is a very interesting topic, Timon, and I presume that you took this from a discussion that you and I had, and you modified it. So I was in exact the situation. A friend of mine a year ago, just over a year ago, developed severe mental stress and depression. And they called me and said, look, they cannot live anymore. So they had pain, but it wasn't physical pain, it was mental pain. They called me and they said they cannot live anymore. Would I facilitate sleeping tablets for them to take an overdose? So they had written a few emails to me. They had sent me WhatsApp messages begging me for tablets. And I totally believe in euthanasia. But this had put me in a terrible predicament because in my country, I would be charged with first-degree murder. So, and I think Rich 456 brought this up. So our legal system in this darkest part of Africa where I live, I would have put in jail if not hung. So I turned him down. And then, of course, I said to him, why don't you order the tablets? And exactly what I think Rich 456 said, order them from Amazon. So what they did is he went and he ordered a suicide kit from Mexico. And the suicide kit was interrupted by the CIA where he lived in a certain part of the United States. And they put him in jail for importing a suicide pack. And he spent 30 miserable days in jail. And eventually he got out and he called me. He said, my depression is really worse now. I'm going to do something terrible. And I just said to him, look, there are other ways of taking your life much more humanely and dignified. So he went to Switzerland and he committed suicide exactly a week ago. Thanks, Timon. Thanks, Ellie.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. Thank you for that story. So these things do happen. And that's why if we can just provide a bit of information, maybe we will be able to guide other people in the right direction, prolong their life a little bit longer, and, make them happy. That's the best that we can do in the world. The world is a game, and some people just want to quit. So let's now head over to Kristen. Kristen, hello and welcome.
Kristen, hi.
Hello. I have a lot of background noise, so I apologize in advance. Dr. Sam, I am extremely sorry to hear about your friend. That is devastating.
Yeah.
That's like one of my first questions is, would I be legally responsible? And in my country and my state, the answer is absolutely positively yes. our laws have not caught up with this. If somebody was dying of bone cancer and I knew I wouldn't be legally responsible, I don't even know if I could help them, but I wouldn't like I wouldn't judge them for wanting to. Like if I could, let's see, let's make sure that this is definitely what you want. Maybe wait a week and just sleep on it and make sure it's not an emotional response to something. But I don't even know if I feel good about it, but I don't know if I feel bad about it either. I don't know. I had the thought of somebody suffering, and I've been in this situation where I've had to watch somebody die of Huntington's disease. It's awful. It's just awful. And had that person asked me to help them in their end stages of this god awful disease, I'd be hard pressed to say I can't. It's just a really, it's a good dilemma, I guess, really, because I'm stuck between like what the legality of it is, and what we're allowed to do versus what would be like the dignified thing to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristen. Mikasa, hello and welcome.
Hi, megaphone's yours, Mikasa. Welcome back.
Okay. Hello. So I was reading that entire thing, and I was thinking to myself, I wouldn't do it because I would rather see them live their life out as it already is instead of me having to be responsible for taking their life since I'm the one buying the tablets for them. So I would literally just try and talk it out with them instead of buying them the pills. I would literally just try and make them more confident in themselves to live out their life instead of having to end it right then and there. So that would be my answer. It's not much, but that would be my answer.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Then we have Just In Case. Hi, Just In Case.
Sorry, just going through the list. Got you. There we go. Hi. Megaphone's yours.
Hi.
Hi.
So if somebody were to ask me and like if they were dying already, I would want them to live the rest of their life out. I would like talk with them and like spend a week with them, I guess. Like offer them I'll spend a week with them and like show them why they should live the rest of their life, why like they don't know what might happen, they don't know what could happen tomorrow, they don't know if they could find a cure or some kind of treatment that would help prolong their life. And if they're still like in the same mindset like a week later, then honestly I probably would. If it was my best friend, I would. And if the courts catch up to me about it, and I'll deal with it myself. I'll tell them everything that happened, and if I have jail time, I have jail time.
Perfect. Thank you, Justin. Put yourself above the law
Oscar.
to help someone else. Oscar Patron.
Hi. Hi, welcome.
I actually don't want to raise my hand, sorry.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Oscar. So now the table is open, but you can also raise your hand at the moment. But first, I'd love to hear, Ali, what would you do?
I just want to say sorry, Dr. Sam, my condolences. I know nothing that somebody can say right now can help, but I hope you feel better. I know it's not the easiest thing. Before I answer the question, as depression has come up, it's very serious. It's always, you can't always understand. We always try and help somebody that's in depression. We see, I'm very positive generally as a person, very optimistic. I always believe in the last straw and the last leg of things, taking things to maximizing things. But the thing is that sometimes when you try and help somebody that's depressed, you can't really help them because in the sense of you don't know how bad you just can't put yourself in their shoes. And when somebody is depressed, they I don't know, it's just they just see things in a whole different light. So it's very difficult. Okay, to answer the question, I would try to talk them out of it. See if I can help in any other way, suggest something else. If I saw that they continued and they were persistent over a long period of time, obviously if it was illegal, I don't think I would go get the pills. If it was legal, it's a very difficult situation because it's like you're deciding for them in a sense, and you are being held responsible for their death. So again, after trying to talk to them and trying to convince them of an alternative route, if I saw that they were in their right mind and that's what they truly did want, and after really having a very good discussion with myself and becoming content with my decision, I would probably help them out, considering it was legal, of course. It's a very difficult situation. Personally, I don't believe in euthanasia. Sorry, you've helped me, Tim.
Euthanasia.
After, okay, that. Even with my cat 2 years ago, she had been suffering for 2 years. Well, I had her on cortisone until things got really bad, and I always said that I was not going to put her down. And when the last month came, I saw her, she started suffering. She was in a really bad place and actually did take the decision. I didn't believe that we should have the choice to decide to end our lives or not, but I don't know. I still haven't decided if it's right or wrong. I mean, even though I did take the decision with my cat, I mean, she is a cat. Obviously, she was a cat. I couldn't bear to see her suffering, and I felt that it was selfish on my behalf to let her suffer, and yeah, the way she was going on. So I did take the decision last minute, and I did go ahead with it. But if it was with a friend, I don't know. Again, maybe I probably would, if considering that, again, if it was legal. It's a really, really, really difficult situation to be in that. And when somebody is in pain and when they are in that situation, gosh, anyway, I don't hope it upon anybody. So yes, that's what I would do.
Okay. And
what about you, Tim?
well, I definitely won't buy the tablets because yes, it would incriminate me and there would be consequences going forward because, you know, cases are opened with every death that takes place. Empathetically, I think it depends on the duration that they have been in pain and the genuineness that they've been wanting to end their life. Because, you know, I'm sure, let's say more than 70 or 80% of people, even in this room, have probably at least once thought of suicide. Whether you were a 13-year-old kid who just didn't want to live anymore, or you were 40 years old and you didn't have it figured out, or you went through a breakup or anything. I feel like there was this one time where everybody has considered some form of suicide, because life does bring pain to all of us. And depending on the situation, so for example, bone cancer, it's severe pain, and that's the main reason for ending a life. Well, I think the most important thing that we can do is remember we are outside that box, so we have other form of information, and we see things in a little bit more of a rational and logical state of mind. So the most important thing that we can do for these people is research and provide a little bit more information. For example, maybe there are pills in another country that we can buy and reduce the pain, and they can't do it because they're just in too much pain to research. Um, then again, are they in a mental stability state of mind? Is their pain as bad as they say it is? Um, so I won't buy the pills, but if they have genuinely shown that that's it, they really cannot live any longer, I think all we can do is provide some form of information. So before we go to open the table, there are a couple of people that have raised their hands as well. And I would like to go to Molly. Hello, Molly.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
All right. So, like you had touched on, Timon, there are medications that can help you with the pain or with depression. I would go with that option first before considering buying something that will end their life, because there are things that can be given to someone who is in that amount of pain, such as morphine and things like that. So I don't think that the option would be just to end your life because of that kind of pain. Now, I think maybe I have seen people in their last hours of death going through cancer, and I can see. I think a better question would be to pull the plug, because the people that I have seen in their last hours of death have suffered for days and for days dying there. For that, I would have pulled that plug a long time ago, giving because of the legalities of giving medications to help someone in their life. Of course, you obviously can't do that, but absolutely, someone who's sitting there and they can barely breathe and suffering, absolutely, I believe that they should be assisted on their way out. But if someone has at least maybe another 6 months or so, it doesn't really say how much, they're just experiencing pain, and you can live with cancer actually for quite a while. I can understand the pain, but I would search for options to help in the pain instead of the life.
All right,
So
awesome.
that would be my answer
Thank
for
you
that.
so much, Molly. Thank you. Head, let's see.
As they say, hope does last.
That's very true. Let me just. Okay, I think we have Soul Feeder.
I'm gonna have to agree with Molly there, but if, even with like morphine and stuff like that, a lot of people don't want to bring the rest of the remaining of their life being clouded in their mind, right? So they want to keep whatever mind that they have left. Then if they're in, the keyword is severe pain. If they're in suffering from severe pain, yes, I don't want to see them suffer, so I will the tablet for them and help them very possible to make them more comfortable and have their mind intact in the process to their last moment.
Thanks, Sol. Great. It looks like those are all the new ones. So now let's go to Zemot. Zemot, hello. You're live.
Yeah, yeah. So I was the second person to speak
Yes.
at this event, and I didn't have much time to think, so I just said what was on the top of my head, and it's really interesting to listen to everyone. It's only the second time I'm at this event, so I guess um, yeah, I guess that's the point. One of the points of this discussion is to listen to people's opinions and take them in, which is what I've really done. So my answer was that I would probably buy the tablets if it was a close friend of mine and I could see that the person was really in pain. But then I didn't even have time to think about the legal issues, that I would probably be in trouble and perhaps get jail time if I was caught. So which makes me kind of think that no, I will probably not buy the pills, because which I guess is for mostly selfish reasons. I wouldn't want to get in trouble for killing a person. But I would still, if my friend's life is nothing but pain, and there's nothing we can do to stop that pain, and the person will die within a short period of time, I would still want my friend to die a painless death. But would probably not buy the pills and actively help them die still. But yeah, it made me more, listening to everyone's thoughts. It made me more conflicted. But I mean, it still, I stand by the thought that if it's nothing but physical pain that cannot be stopped, then I would still want the person to die. But I don't think I would want to be the one to do it. If it's like mental pain, then I still would believe that there's something that can be done about it. But mm, yeah, so that my point is, it's very interesting to listen to everyone, to get a new perspective on things.
Awesome.
So
Thank you,
yeah.
Zermatt. Yeah, I mean, this is it. We are entering into higher dimensions of thinking, as we have a lot of brains in this room, and we're from all over the world who have, we haven't just learned from one person. We have learned from people that we agree with. We've learned from people who we disagree with, because it's reinforced our ideas, and also has reinforced new ideas in the way we're thinking. Ali, I just thought about, like, they should have moral and ethical lessons in schools. Like, where else do you
Definitely.
read about these things? You read about them in the news, you're thinking about it in your head, like, what would you do? And then you think about it at a very narrow, narrow perspective, because all you do is you have your own thoughts without a broader range of experience to provide you in. And I think we as people would evolve in many new ways by having morals and ethics, uh, in classes for 10 years. Imagine we did morals and ethics. We might be
Can you
more
imagine? I know.
empathetic.
I
It would
think
be
the
amazing.
education system lacks a lot. And I just
Yeah.
want to add something and touch up to something that you said earlier with research. Research is very important, and not going along with the sheep generally. Speaking from experience, this is so difficult. I had a family member that had cancer, and gosh, we went through so much as a family anyway. They were depressed, they got cancer, and had we just carried on, we would have lost them. At that point, we had done a lot of research, me and another family member, and it was due to that research that we did that they are still alive right now. Psychology in these situations plays a major role, especially if it's direct family. And this is where families get tested, where you can actually be a pillar for your family. Just you can either have the choice of just going along with the flow and just letting the water drown you, or you can just try, stick your head above, do your research, see what other alternatives there are to situations. And psychology plays a big role, trying to be positive and trying to pull somebody out. It's just so important. There are situations that are very difficult. It's not always so easy. There have been situations that cancer has been reversed stage 4. I'm not going to go into details. I mean, we have a doctor here. He's more clued up to talk about it. But any problem that comes up in life, psychology plays a big role in how you're going to go about it. I just
Definitely.
cannot stress that enough.
And also, Ali,
And the support system that
you
you have for
touched
your
up
family.
you touched up on, not only did the research help your family member or whichever whoever went through the cancer, but also the fact that they knew that you wanted to do something to help them and provide that support gives that person the strength. And it reminds me of a meme that I saw yesterday, believe it or not. Talk about consequent coincidences. But basically, it's this person who's completely depressed. And they've been depressed. They're sitting inside the dark. And someone comes up and says, I'm so sorry you feel like that. Can I help you? And they said, no, nobody can help me. But the fact that you asked if you can help me has just made me feel a little bit better.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's just really
It's
amazing.
beautiful.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Sam.
Timon, yes, I was taken aback by Justice, who said he would give his friend a week, and after a week he would help him commit suicide, and then take the consequences. And I think that's very noble, for to take the consequences. The problem is that your family also take the consequences. That you suddenly put in jail for your good intentions, and your whole family suffer. So maybe Justice should rethink about helping a friend and affecting his whole family. It was just a thought, but
absolutely,
what I'd like to say is that we need to differentiate between people who are crying out for help and they use suicide as the instrument to get the help, and people that genuinely need to die. And there's a very big difference, because I mean, we often talk about the quality of life, and I've got to concur with Zamat. I really got to concur with him that if there's no quality of life, life is not worth it. There's no point in being drugged on morphine and you're fast asleep, don't know who you are, and you've lost your dignity, and somebody has to change your soiled linen, and somebody has to feed you by a tube, and you've lost your dignity. That is not life. That's not the definition of life. And of course, my dilemma with my best friend was, he was a perfectly normal person who could live another 30, 40 years, but had such a terrible anguish, mental anguish, that I gave him a full year to think about what he wanted to do. And then when I saw he tried to commit suicide with a Mexican potion, then I suggested that, look, there are alternative ways of doing this, which was far more dignified than taking a medication in an apartment and you don't know the consequences. So for me, quality of life was very important.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
that's all
Can
I
I
wanted
ask
to
a
say.
question,
Yeah.
Dr. Sam? And that is providing information legal? Because that's another thing that I think we need to take it into account, is that you suggested information to have your friend go to Switzerland, commit suicide, and those were under euthanized and legal conditions. But what if you gave information for them to commit suicide with sleeping pills? They've got the messages on their phone and their emails and everything, and then there's a case that is opened. What are the implications in that case?
So I could be charged as being an accessory to the fact, number one. Number two, because I'm a physician, and I have expert knowledge, it would be looked upon, certainly in the country where I live, as unethical. If I lived in Switzerland, it wouldn't be unethical, because assisted suicide is perfectly normal. What do we mean by assisted suicide? Is they put the sleeping tablets next to your bed, and it is your option to take them. They don't put them into your mouth. Okay. So if let's, for example, in your situation here, where your friend had severe pain, incurable cancer, and couldn't get out of bed, and he said to you, Timon, in my cupboard next door, in the other room in the cupboard, I've got a box of 60 sleeping tablets. Please bring them here. I want to commit suicide. Now, all you did was take the sleeping tablets, as he asked you for him, from one cupboard to next to his bedside. Were you an accessory to the fact? That's the question you've got to ask.
Well, there's no
It's
proof.
very different if you go and buy this.
There's no proof.
Yes, no, but I'm saying to you, well, there's no proof. That's correct. There's no proof. But here, when you go and buy the sleeping tablets, it's a Schedule 5. Your name is recorded in the register that you bought sleeping tablets. And then there's a link. Okay. So that's the difference.
So you could serve jail time just for providing suicide information.
Well, you'd be an accessory to the fact, and you would be charged. I think it would be a very difficult case. So in my situation, when I saw that he'd just come out of jail, he was really traumatized because it was a jail for mental people, and he is not a mental person. He said to me, what would you do? And I said to him, this is what I would do. I have a living will. And in my living will, it instructs my children that should I have an incurable disease, to take me to Switzerland, to Baden in Switzerland. Here is the name of the organization. I have already paid the premium that you need to pay as a deposit. So I'm a member there. They will not reject me. So I didn't tell him to do this. I said to him what I would do. And he took the information of what I would do, and he did exactly that. But I didn't tell him to do that. So I was very careful the way I worded it. I said to him, this is what I have written for myself if I should get an incurable condition.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sam. Very interesting. Let's head over to Aziz. Hello and welcome.
Hello, hi. Whoa, I see some active participation. Hey, I missed you guys. Actually, I hadn't been here for a while, and the question is very interesting. I think this is a very clearly moral, ethical question, which I very much like, and I think these are very interesting questions that I like to discuss most. I remember I was watching the film with Al Pacino. I think he played the Dr. Death, a real person, Kasparian. He was Dr. Kasparian. There was a guy who was, I think, in the film, film, they talk about the first case, if I'm not mistaken, of euthanasia, that doctor actually helped somebody to commit kind of suicide, but it was some kind of system where they had like he had almost a device that he designed, this doctor, for a patient who moves only one hand. He could like hand him this device and let him activate it. So it was kind of devised by him, but he didn't actually what do I say, like inject anything or use any syringes or participate in that process as a doctor. But still, it was a very interesting case for me, and I thought about this like situation, because the similar situation happened to my dad when he was rather young. He was 58 at that moment, and it was very unexpected for us. He got in coma, and for 2 weeks he was gone. He passed away. So I was always curious. He was such a powerful sportsman, like always very successful among his family and everything. And I was curious if he had a choice. Maybe that was his choice. If I was him, if I were him, I would choose to probably die rather than coming back to life late in my life, wherein I feel physically, impaired or maybe physically disabled, and to continue like that. I think in that certain situation, if I was him, I would choose to die probably, and that's why I think this is a very interesting question. And concerning this particular question, I would say that if it was my best friend and we had this conversation, this is a serious signal for me. So, well, first of all, was I aware? I was probably aware because I was with my friend for such a long period of time, and I would have sensed if he or she wants to die somehow, and he or she is not happy with their, condition where they live right now, that place. And I would spend a certain time, like a long time, with him or with her, like as a main participant, and I would discuss all the details. I would discuss all the feelings that he or she has, and until I kind of, convince myself that this is not just a case wherein somebody radically needs help and needs just kind feelings, as somebody mentioned, that just talking to people, like, paying attention to their last hours, because we all fear death. And I think many people, when they realize that they're going to die, they start valuing their time very differently. Like every breath, every, breeze, everything becomes very valuable. And I think that's, maybe it could be a good signal for me, at least, to gather everybody who knows him or her, and tell them, guys, this is the last time that soon is going to be gone. He's going to be gone. So we have to create something valuable as much as we can for this person, for this personality. So yeah, I think I would do that. And if everybody collectively sees what's going on, and my friend is in a very deep depression and pain, I think we could collectively find ways to solve this problem. I think. Oh my God, I want to drink. Yeah, and maybe traveling to Switzerland, or finding those places, or somehow setting this situation, just finding maybe sleeping pills if he or she wishes. So yeah, I think I would listen to that person. If I'm sure that he says, I want to die, please help me, I would help, just because it's my best friend.
All right. Thank you so much, Izzy. And I'm sure everybody on Facebook also appreciates all your what you have to say in the stories. And it just brings you back to the idea of gratitude. It's like if you were on your deathbed and you were counting down the things that it was the last time you eat cake, the last time you eat an orange, the last time you smell the trees, and you see your family, and you speaking, won't it make you appreciate more in life on a daily basis, just to move forward? And so it's all about gratitude. So thank you very much for joining
And it
us.
shouldn't actually, sorry, just to add, it shouldn't actually get to that point. We should appreciate every moment that we have.
Definitely.
We shouldn't wait for us to get diagnosis, for something bad to happen. We should appreciate every single moment.
Don't
and
wait
the
for the
present.
weekend.
Very important.
Don't wait for anything except now. Now is the only thing to wait for, because that's all we have. Dr. Sam, I see your hand is up, but in other words, thank you for joining, everybody. Dr. Sam?
Timon, I just wanted to say that Aziz, the film Aziz is referring to, is called You Don't Know Jack, and it is the
Jack
life
Kevorkian.
story of Dr. Jack Kevorkian. Yes, the euthanasiast.
He died
who advocated
recently.
euthanasia.
He died recently.
He died recently. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Thank you.
that's a story, and it was Al Pacino. If anybody wants to watch it, thanks,
I
Timon.
want to
Thank
watch
you,
it.
Ali.
I don't know where to find movies nowadays, but anyway, thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at the Social Dilemma and Oh My Brain next week Thursday. Thanks, Sally. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.